Hey guys, I'm Steve Freeman and welcome back to the Steve Freeman Podcast. A brand new season starts right now of the Steve Freeman Podcast, and I'm so glad to have you here. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, or iHeartRadio, do me a favor and subscribe to the podcast so that it's downloaded to your playlist every single time I upload a new episode on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Be sure and leave us a review and leave us 5 stars. If you're enjoying the podcast on YouTube, be sure hit the subscription button, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave us a comment. But also make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're notified every time I upload new videos. As well, follow me on social media. It's at the Steve Freeman everywhere. Now, I did a live stream. It was kind of a pop-up live stream the other night, and I wanted to give some details on what you can expect from this brand new season of the Steve Freeman Podcast. One of the things that I talked about was I felt like I kind of got away from who I am and what my brand really is in the last season. And when I say that, what I mean is people have come to know me. I've built my brand on being the no-holds-barred truth guy, the honesty with common sense approach to the music business. I call it as I see it. And I found myself last season holding back and maybe even trying to be a little bit more politically correct. And that's not really who I am. So starting the new season is turning over an old leaf, or maybe going back to the old leaf that I used to be. And I'm not going to hold punches anymore. I'm going to call people out by name. I'm going to say what I think. And that's going to be the direction that we're taking from now on. If that offends some of you, I apologize. And I want to have you here, but I just can't sugarcoat anything anymore. I had a team around me that was saying, look, we want to take this even bigger than it already is. And maybe if you tone down the language and you kind of reined it in a little bit, it might be more acceptable to a larger audience. The more and more I did that, guys, the less better I felt about the content I was making, to be real honest with you. So I told them they could all go jump in the lake. I can't do that anymore. You guys come to me for the real, raw truth about this business and different areas of life that we run into. And that's what you're going to get. And that starts today, and it starts right now with today's episode. What we're going to talk about today is what I feel is a scam in the music business. Nothing frustrates me more, gets on my nerves more, than when I see individuals, companies, people taking advantage of artists and songwriters, producers, engineers, people that have a dream, people that have a passion, people that have drive, that want to do something with the ability that God's given them to be creative and add something to the conversation creatively. I'm taking on a business here in Nashville in today's episode that I feel like is putting something out there that I feel is like just a scam. It's a money grab. And they're not known for this sort of thing. And so this is probably going to upset quite a few people here in the industry. It's probably going to piss them off. But I figure if you get pissed off at what I'm talking about today, you're being defensive. And you're not really seeing it for what it is. What I'm going to talk about this week is something I ran across last week from NSAI. Now, many of you may know of NSAI, and I used to be a pro member of NSAI. And I think at their core, they're a great organization. They specialize, if you're new in town in Nashville or you're a songwriter from around the world or around the country and you don't really know anybody, they're a great networking service to hook you up and help you build some connections with other songwriters in the industry. They do a great deal of lobbying Congress on behalf of things like the Modernization Act, Music Modernization Act. I'm not saying that NSAI is a bad organization. But when I ran across this the other day, I had a severe, almost allergic reaction to it because I thought, wow, this to me, it doesn't seem right. Now, you may hear about this and it may not be a big deal to you, but I'm going to walk through it. What I'm talking about is an event they're putting on called the Inside the Industry with Liz Rose. Now, many of you may know Liz. She's a great, phenomenal songwriter. She started having a lot of success back in the early days with a lot of those cuts that Taylor Swift had. Most of those early songs she wrote with Liz Rose. Now, Liz has gone on to have success in writing other songs for Lee Brice and who else? The band Perry, I think, and a lot of other acts. She's a great songwriter. She's a great person. She does a lot for the industry. But NSAI is teaming up with Liz Rose Music to put on the Inside the Industry with Liz Rose. It's November 7th through the 10th. Sounds like an advertisement, but I promise you, this is not an advertisement. What they're doing is they are selling this package for you to come to Nashville November 7th through the 10th. And here's what they list as what you're going to get for your money. Here's the experience. You're going to get song feedback. You're going to get critiques and advice from Liz Rose Music staff. You're going to observe a demo session and a pro co-writing session. There's going to be an industry Q&A. You're going to be able to attend a round at the Bluebird Cafe featuring Liz Rose and friends. There will be co-writing exercises that you get to do with fellow, whatever they're calling this, convention attendees or experience attendees. And it says you'll get to learn publishing company operations, advice on how to get a publishing deal, and what it's like to be a signed writer, and much, much more. All that sounds great. Now, I have some opinions on all of that, and we'll get to most of that here in just a second. But here's what kind of started tipping me off and throwing me in the direction of getting upset over this thing. And that was the next statement. All applications received will go through a review process. Please note, applying does not guarantee acceptance. So if you want to attend this event, this experience, you're going to have to apply and hope that you get approved to be able to come and have this experience and attend this event. It says limited space available for this intimate educational weekend. Okay, that's fine. But here's where I started to get really frustrated. Total participation cost for this event is $2,500. There is a payment plan available, by the way. And here's what really got me. There's an application fee. Not only do you have to apply to even be considered to be able to come to this event, there's an application fee. You have to pay $40 to submit your application to take part in the industry, Inside the Industry with Liz Rose and NSAI. $40. And guess what? That application fee, it's non-refundable. So let's say you want to come, you see the value here, which we'll get to in a minute. You see the value, you want to spend the $2,500 to come, and you think, man, this sounds awesome. It's going to be great. You submit your application, you give them your $40. Let's say you don't get picked. They just took your $40. This to me just absolutely reeks of a money grab by NSAI and maybe Liz Rose. I know Liz is certainly getting paid to do this. She doesn't do stuff for free. But I have a real problem with this $40 application fee. They could have 1,000 people apply, and they're going to make $40,000 that they don't have to give back just from people applying. It says limited availability. I don't know what that limit is. I don't know how many spots there are. I don't know if there are 5 spots, 10 spots. I would imagine that it's probably somewhere around 10 because they're probably trying to make around $25,000 on this whole thing. See, I see the math. I see what they're trying to do here. It's the purpose of this is not to educate you as a songwriter. It's to make money off of you. It's to try to sell access. Now, I want to break down what they say, what they call the experience that you're going to have, and I'm going to give my spin on it. Okay, one of the things they say, you're going to get song feedback, critiques, and advice from Liz Rose music staff. That doesn't mean you're going to sit down and have a one-on-one with Liz Rose, and she's going to listen to your songs, and she's going to give you corrective criticism. No, you're going to be sitting down with a song plugger, creative director, or intern at Liz Rose Music, and they're going to give you feedback on your songs. Those of you that have followed me for any amount of time, you know exactly what I think about song critiques. I think song critiques are bullshit. I don't take and accept criticism, therefore I don't give it out. I think what we do is an art. And who are we to go, well, Rembrandt really should have painted this way, or Mozart really should have composed and used these notes instead. I just think that it's not our job as professionals to critique or criticize somebody else's work. Now, sure, there's a structure to songwriting. There's a form. If you want to get better at the craft, you should learn the structures and you should learn the process of knowing how to write great songs and matching lyric with melody. Sure, that's a process. But what you do within those boundaries, I believe, is your art. I don't believe in critiquing other people's art. Let me also put it this way. If you find value, or you think that it is of value to have somebody from Liz Rose Music critique your music, let me tell you this, and you think that it's going to help you and it's going to lead to something bigger. Liz Rose Music has several staff writers that write for Liz Rose Music. Less than 0.1% of the songs they write get cut and go on to make money. Less than 0.1% of the songs as a collective that all of the songwriters write that write for Liz Rose Music. So don't you think they're giving their own writers all this critiques and criticisms and feedback on their songs? If what they had to say was really of value and really made a difference, then don't you think that more than less than 0.1% of the songs that the songwriters write that write for Liz Rose Music would get more cuts? So what's their feedback really worth? Is it worth $2,500 to you? The next thing is observe a demo session and a pro co-writing session. You get to sit in and watch a demo session. Well, guys, for $2,500, you can book your own demo session with the same players that Liz Rose is using, and you can cut 4 or 5 of your own songs that you can then turn around and pitch, that actually get you further down the road, that actually do give you a value for experience. You can sit in on a private pro co-writing session. Ooh, boy, that's exciting. As if you didn't know how to write. You don't know how to co-write. If you don't know any of that stuff, see, that's what I'm always talking about when I say songwriting is a talent. It is a craft. I don't believe it's something that can be taught. You've got the talent to do it or you don't. And if you don't have the talent, you need to get the hell out of the business. Get out of the way. Stop muddying the waters for truly talented people who have a gift. That's number one. Number two, what value is it to you to sit in and watch pro writers co-write? You know how to co-write. You get in a room with somebody, you go over ideas, and you write a song together. There's no special magical fairy dust that goes on in pro co-writing sessions. So much so that sitting back and simply observing two pro writers write is going to somehow mean something to your career, or that you're going to get something out of it, or there's going to be light bulbs going off and like, oh, wow, I didn't know that's how you did that. If you're leaning on the fact that you need to have that kind of an experience for you to get better as a songwriter, you're not a songwriter. Period. End of story. Next one is industry Q&A sessions. So they're going to line up people from the industry and answer your questions. Okay, you can find answers to those questions anywhere. Thousands and thousands and thousands of you are listening to this podcast and watching the video on YouTube. Ask me a question, I'll answer it. I'm not charging $2,500 to answer your questions. The next one is attend a round at the legendary Bluebird Cafe featuring Liz Rose and friends. Now, you, for your $2,500, are going to get to go to the Bluebird Cafe, just like anybody else as a member of the public can do. So this isn't an exclusive private event with access and communication and engagement with these people. You get to go sit in the Bluebird Cafe and watch a round like any other member of the general public. Except you're paying $2,500 to get to do it. Next one is co-writing exercises with fellow attendees. This is always the one that gets me. And I've had this problem with other songwriting camps from other people. And this is what I always think keep people going back to this and falling for these traps, is that you think you learn all this stuff and you think because you leave these events and you feel pumped up. It's not because of what you learned or the pros or the experts. It's not that they gave you the keys to the kingdom, the secrets, and now you know how to make it. It's simply because you spent time engaging with other people who share the same passion you do. These songwriting camps, that's what they feed off of. When you leave and you say, I had a great time and it was worth the $3,000 I spent, what you're really saying is, I got to know a few people, I built some relationships that I didn't have before, and I met some people that I can co-write with. And again, you spent time around people that are just as passionate about music as you. That's where the fulfillment comes in. That's where the excitement comes in. But is that worth $3,000? Is that worth $2,500? Is that worth a $40 non-refundable application fee? I don't know. It says you're going to learn publishing company operations, advice on how to get a deal. Getting a deal is very easy. I'll save you $2,500. Get a cut on a major artist and you can have a publishing deal. Get a sync in a major television show or film, and you can get a deal. That's how you get a deal. You don't get a deal by writing great songs. The music business and labels and publishing companies are not in the business of great songs. They're in the business of making money. So if you can prove to them that you're already making money or you've got a cut coming and it's going to make money and it's going to put them in the black from day one of their investment in you, you can get a deal. You certainly don't have to spend $2,500 and a $40 non-refundable application fee to find that out. And then they're going to tell you what it's like to be a signed writer. Anybody that would come to this class, this weekend, this experience, this Inside the Industry with Liz Rose and NSAI, here's what it's like to be a signed writer for you. If you come to town and you do get a deal, you're going to get $12,000 a year. You're going to write twice a day, 5-6 times, and 6 days a week. So you're going to make less than minimum wage, and you're going to work your ass off. That's what it's like to be a signed writer. And then let's say you get a cut. Another thing it's like to be a signed writer is for that song to become a hit and you watch your publisher make all the money. That's what it's like to be a signed writer. And then it says, and more. Well, I don't know what and more could possibly mean. But I want to go back to this. $2,500. Let's talk about where you could spend $2,500 that actually would help you in your career. For $2,500, you can go down to your local music store and pick out a brand new Taylor or Martin guitar. You could even get a Gibson for $2,500. For $2,500, you could go down to either your Windows store or your Apple store. I like Apple. You can buy a brand new MacBook Pro that you can install Pro Tools on, or you can install Logic Pro. For $2,500, you can buy a suite of plugins that will allow you to produce radio-ready records. For $2,500, you can book your own demo session with the exact same players that Liz Rose Music is using to demo your songs. What I'm saying is that I don't think this $2,500 is going to get you any further in your career. What it's going to do is give you a false sense of being involved in the industry, and that, my friends, is what they're preying on. They know you want badly to be a part of this industry. They know badly that you want to be a successful songwriter, a successful artist. And what they're doing is they're selling access because they know that as well. You badly want access to people who you think can get you where you want to go. And I'm not saying that they can't. What I'm saying is that anybody that offers that to you at a price, and especially at a premium, you might want to think twice. Because I can name off 100 different things that will actually help you in your career that you could use $2,500 on besides coming to Nashville for 3 days and watching a bunch of professionals pat themselves on the fucking back? Oh, don't forget. Keep that little thing, that little nugget in the back of your mind that they're accepting applications. And it's $40 to just apply to be able to come. And that's what this is really all about. This is about getting 1,000 people to apply or 2,000 people to apply and selecting that 10, 15, or 20 people. Because this is all about money. This is not about education. This is not about information. This is not even about access. This is about money, pure and simple. We've talked in the past about sharks and what I think about sharks and who I believe. And I said the other night on a live stream that used to 10 years ago, it was the people that you didn't really know if you could trust or not that were the sharks. They are the bottom feeders. Well, guys, as it sits right now, those are no longer the sharks. Those are no longer the bottom feeders. The people coming after your wallet now are the ones that should be and should stand for being the most reputable in this business. Up to this point, I've always seen NSAI as just that. I used to be a pro member. I'm no longer a member and haven't been for a few years because I don't agree with what they do. I appreciate what they do. And some people, some of you watching and listening, may not even have another option. Maybe the NSAI route is the only route that you can afford because you have to pay them for a membership as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. They provide a service. And I want to be really careful here, and I want to make sure you understand. I'm not saying that there aren't quality things that you are going to have to invest in your career with. I'm just saying when you look at what you're getting versus what you're paying, in this case, $2,500 to help you in your career is going to go a lot further. And it doesn't say, but I'm going to take one step further. This also doesn't include your hotel room, your transportation, or your meals while you're here. So if you're really going to do this trip right, and you're the kind of person that's got $2,500, number one, I've got some experiences I would be willing to sell you too. But in all seriousness, $2,500 plus the $40 application fee, plus your hotels. And if you haven't priced hotels in a while in Nashville, anywhere you would really want to stay, it's $250 to $300 a night. So this $2,500 experience is going to cost you $5,000. And you, even if you're a doubter and you hate everything I'm saying and you're pissed off right now, even you can go, $5,000. Even I know a few things I could do that would help my career a lot more than the Inside the Industry with Liz Rose and NSAI for $5,000. It may be worth it to you. I'm just saying, think about it. Think about what you're really buying and think about what you're going to take home. What are you taking home from this? To me, it just sounds like an experience at a premium. And I want to end by saying, look, I think NSAI provides value for amateur songwriters and emerging songwriters. I think Liz Rose is a phenomenal songwriter. I think she's an even better person. But what I don't like to see are two people that I admire greatly, in this instance being a songwriter and an organization. Two people that I admire coming together for what seems like nothing more than a money grab. I'm sure the intentions are well, and they do, I know, want you to get something out of this. They want you to have a great experience. But they're charging you a premium for it. And to me, that's the problem with the music business. Sure, we all have to make money. We have to put food on the table for our families. We have to provide. Liz Rose has to provide. Bart Herbson and the rest of the team over at NSAI, they've got a staff to pay. They have to make money. And I get it. And I understand that. And maybe even the $2,500, you may think, well, that's not too bad. I think I could do that. I think I could learn something. What really bothers me here, oddly enough, is the $40 non-refundable application fee. To me, if you're out there and you can afford $2,500 to come to Nashville for 2 days to just watch a bunch of shit take place, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know how many people are going to apply. But I would be careful, and I'd go one step further and say buyer beware. Because again, the money you're going to spend, the $2,500, plus the money you're going to spend in hotel rooms, transportation, food, drinks. I don't drink, but I know a lot of you guys do. This is going to be a $5,000 weekend. And I urge you to ask yourself, what am I getting for my money? Is it worth it? That, my friends, is up to you. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast. I'm excited about this brand new season. A lot of things are going to be different, guys. A ton of interviews are coming up. This season is going to be more about real, raw education, information, and truth, and we're going straight to the horse's mouth for it. I've got a bunch of interviews lined up, going to be both live in studio, but also on the phone. And we're going to get to the bottom of some of the issues that you guys have asked me about and that you want to know more about. That's going to be this season of the Steve Freeman Podcast. Bigger, better, and bolder. If you're not following me across social media, please do. It's at The Steve Freeman on all social media platforms. If you're listening to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else you get your podcast, please subscribe to the podcast. Give us a 5-star review. Leave us a written review, but subscribe to the podcast so that it's automatically downloaded to your playlist. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I'm not afraid of you disagreeing with me. I'm not going to bite your head off, I promise. Use the comment section as a discussion forum. That's what I like to see. And most importantly, if you are getting something out of the podcast, please share it with somebody that you know. Share it with somebody that you think it would be useful for. And as we end this first episode of this brand new season, we're going to end it the way we end every episode. Keep being creative. Keep pressing the boundaries. And there's nothing wrong with being independent. See you in the next one.
This might be a bit